It's still a big win over the San Antonio Spurs. It's a game in which it saw Andre Drummond have his best game of the season for the Chicago Bulls, leading the Bulls with box score plus minus of plus 30. We're going to talk about it all, the impact of the big three, and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
I see red, I see red, I see red, I see red, yeah, I see red, I see red, I see red, I see.
All right, Bulls fans, the Bulls took care of business today against the San Antonio Spurs, a game in which saw, the starters not have to play as many minutes as they did. They were Zach LaVine still over 30, Vooch only with 24 minutes played. He's going to be big as we face the Memphis Grizzlies tomorrow, but Andre Drummond, that's going to be the story of this game. 9 for 9 from the field, 15 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 steals, 1 block, 3 turnovers, only 1 personal foul, and 21 points. Andre Drummond with the highest box plus minus on the team of plus 30, followed by DeMar DeRozan with a box score plus minus of plus 32. He goes 8 of 17 from the field. Nikola Vucevic in only 24 minutes goes 22 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. Vooch also was balling, but like I said, Drummond's going to be the story of the game, rightfully so. We also had Zach LaVine chipping in 20 points. He goes 7 of 14 from the field, 5 of 5 from the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 3 assists for Zach LaVine. A game in which Zach had a cold second quarter and half of the third quarter and then came alive with the rest of the team. Patrick Williams and Ayo Dosunmu both in double digits as well. We got to see some Dalen Terry. We got to see Tony Bradley. This team took care of business, winning over a 24-point win over the San Antonio Spurs. This was a needed win. The Bulls now move to 1 game below 500 with the chance to get to 500 for the first time in months against the Memphis Grizzlies tomorrow night. Now, we'll talk about that. We'll have a preview episode where we're going to talk about that matchup. So, we're not going to talk about that a little bit too much right now. The Bulls are the 9th seed. They have the chance to be the 8th seed tomorrow with a win, and we'll see what they can do. But if nothing else, Drummond has now shown why you need to play him. As long as he's not getting in foul trouble, Drummond needs to be balling out for the Chicago Bulls. But this is a fun game to watch. Six players in double figures for the Chicago Bulls in this game. Everybody who checked in for the Bulls in this game scored a point. Even Dalen Terry, even Tony Bradley coming in with some garbage time, him scoring 2 points from the free throw line. At the end of the day, this was one of the better Bulls games, in a game in which, yes, they faced an inferior opponent. The San Antonio Spurs are only 14 wins on the season. But as we know with this Bulls team, the Bulls have not played well against those teams, and especially when the Spurs came back and took the lead briefly, leading by 5, those are games where the Bulls typically do lose against young, scrappy teams playing with energy. The Bulls said, Drummond mainly said, y'all too small to guard me. You can't stop me. And it was good to see. This is just a fun win. And the Bulls, this wasn't a marquee win for them or anything in the season, considering you're facing the Spurs team, but a great way to build some momentum before they go on the road for the next 3 games. The Bulls are on the road. They don't play again at home until next Monday against the Orlando Magic, but they're on the road against Memphis, against Brooklyn, against Cleveland, all this week, and we'll see what this Bulls team can do. But for the first time, the Bulls are playing with some momentum. 3-game winning streak right now that they're on. They've won 4 out of the last 5. The Bulls right now are playing some of the best basketball we've seen from them. And the key thing in some of these games has been, even when Zach isn't scoring, we get contributions from players. Patrick Williams playing with his head up, not being as passive. Ayo Dosunmu's playing with a new level of confidence as we've seen. He's now working on 4 straight games scoring in double figures for Ayo Dosunmu, a stretch that we haven't seen from him in a while this season. The Bulls are playing some of their best basketball, and this is where the Bulls need to make their move. Heading into the All-Star break, now with 6 games left after this game before the All-Star break, this is the time for the Bulls to make their move. That's it. This is where they need to make their move at. Can they do it? We'll see. We'll see. But we've seen this Bulls team before go on these winning streaks, win games like this, and then they start shitting the bed. This is where the Bulls need to start building some momentum. And if they can build that momentum to finish this out, heading into the All-Star break, then come out of the All-Star break with even more momentum, that it's going to be interesting back half of the season for this team. But woulda, coulda, shoulda. We'll see what that all entails for this Bulls team. Let's go ahead and get into your comments. Wouldn't be post-game show without you. We got one above all in the building. It says, we've been begging Billy to play Drummond, and Drummond has been responding now with the minutes. Evan Lick, I swear if we turn that monster into a MFer named Willie, I'm done, bro. You cannot give up Drummond at this point now. You cannot. Hernan says they were too small for Drummond. Yeah, Drummond was just bodying out there. Alex Lorez says, give Drummond the playing time he deserves. I agree with you. Drummond should not be playing any less than 12 to 15 minutes per game. And even then, there's a conversation to be made, depending on the matchup and how many fouls he has, that Drummond should at least be getting 18 to 20 minutes per game. That keeps Vooch fresh, right? And especially in the time where we're going to be playing on the road for the next 3 games. We don't come back home to Chicago until next Monday. We're going to be on the road for the rest of the week. You need to go to the depths of your bench, and Drummond playing like this is going to hopefully help keep Vooch and some of the other starters fresh. Drummond's getting traded. I know this is going to be, I knew it was going to be somebody who said that. Achillian says, good win, though. What did Stacey mean by Coach Pop goes against the grain? He is as woke as they come. That's what going against the grain is. Saying that Coach Pop doesn't go with the common thought. They talked about it over on the broadcast. Even the fact that he wants equality for all people, and he's been in a state like Texas for as long. Like, Pop just does his own thing. Jonathan Aegis in the building says, this team, man, literally are leagues above the worst teams, but rarely show it. Hopefully we see more in the back half of the season, back part of the season. I always say half, but we're well over halfway through the season. This was our 53rd game. We got 29 games left on the season, which really isn't that much when you think about it. Haize, I swear to God, if the Bulls trade Andre Drummond after this, I'm officially done with this dumbass front office from Scoochie. Hey, man, listen, you got to do what you got to do. It depends on the deal. Let's wait and see the deal. Hopefully they don't, but let's wait and see the deal. As soon as I saw Dalen cut, I knew it was going to be a slam. You can see it happening. I hope for many more from our young buck. Listen, I still think next season we're going to see a lot of Dalen Terry, and I can't wait. I really can't wait. Shane O'Mac says, I really hope we don't trade Drummond. Listen, we'll get to that when we cross that bridge. Evan Lick goes to show if we didn't choke as many games, we could be well. Oh, yeah, if the Bulls didn't shit the bed as much as they have against sub 500 teams, we're looking at a team that's probably 8 to 10 games above 500 at this point. Like, really, just go and look at the schedule and how many games the Bulls have just crapped against teams that are not as good as them. The Bulls are probably, maybe saying 10 is a bit much, but at least 5 to 8 games above 500 at this point. This was exciting as hell between Drum, Kobe, and DJJ. I was popping out my seat. I hope this ain't a precursor to Drummond getting traded. Listen, I know everybody, and I know a lot of people are going to bring up the Drummond trade. It is what it is, man. We'll see. That's out of our control. We can't control it. But I do like the fact that you brought up Kobe, because one of the players I did not talk about in that little intro was Kobe White. Kobe White, 4 of 8 from the field, 12 points, 4 assists, 2 steals, 1 rebound, but the defense. Like, this is another game and another player that is starting to be with Kobe White that if you don't watch the game, you may not always understand the way that Kobe impacts the game, man. Just how many loose balls did he get after? How many balls did he You guys know what I mean. But, there's a lot of that. And Kobe's he's just playing damn good basketball. D-Dub says, Haize, I'm worried that DJJ has lost his job as our backup center. Don't worry about it. He should have never been playing backup center. But there's always going to be a role for Derrick Jones Jr. With the energy that Derrick Jones Jr. plays with, the way he's able to block shots and hit the open 3 at times, there's always going to be minutes for DJJ. Always. Melvin in the building. We need to start and do not trade Andre Drummond petition for Acme to see. Listen, it ain't gonna matter. It's not gonna matter. This is how they should always play against sub 500 teams. But Drummond gets credit for this win, man. He was feasting. That Drummond was balling out of control, bro. This was like seeing old school Drummond, right? Young Drummond, who was just like dropping double doubles and dunking on people's heads. I called it. His signing was underrated. He can play like this every game. Honestly, now he back in his groove. Well, it's tough for a player to play like this every game. I thought let's not exaggerate, right? Because there are going to be some matchups where Drummond just doesn't work. There are going to be some matchups where it does work into the Bulls' favor to go small ball. But listen, Drummond can have an impact. And Drummond is going to be a player that at the bare minimum, even if it's not scoring, he's always going to be able to get your rebounds. He's always going to play solid defense. And then when you pair him with Goran Dragic, Dragic is going to find him. And he's going to get that man a couple of buckets and alleys if nothing else. Quistaya says, Drummond won't do this to every team, but he is efficient and a left tackle to Vucevic. Kobe White has great potential. Dalen Terry with an easy finish by the end. It was good to see Dalen Terry, especially to get that bucket, man. Say my name in the building says, finally got what I asked for. Some T. Bradley minutes. Andre dominated. Love it. Also love the new name Stacey gave DT after the dunk. The dance machine. On the level of Stacey King nicknames, that's towards the bottom there. I just got to be honest there. Doesn't do much for me. But I will say, Dalen's going to get a better nickname once he starts playing a little bit more. I have full faith in that. We're going to see Dalen get his nickname probably next season. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Damn, Andre Drummond made everyone else look like a non-factor with how he played. Drummond was beasting today. Beasting. Alex Larez says, I do anything to see the Bulls humble the social media Grizzlies. Hey, listen, I love the Grizzlies. I've been on record of saying before, they're one of my favorite teams to watch this season, but they talk too goddamn much, man. For a team that has not accomplished anything, they talk too much. And especially Ja's going to have to get – Ja Morant's going to be one of those players that at some point he's going to have to learn how to separate himself from – and not negatively. I think every time we hear separate ourselves, we think it's negative, but separate himself from maybe some of the people from his past, right? Or just from that image and just focus on ball. And if he ever does that, it's going to be a huge difference for his game. But listen, even without that, Ja Morant is one of the most exciting players to watch in basketball. And the Grizzlies are one of the toughest teams to beat. And the Bulls are going to have a huge test in front of them to play the Grizzlies at home tomorrow night on a back-to-back. That's why it is good that the Big Three didn't have to do much of the heavy lifting tonight, because they're going to be needed against the Memphis Grizzlies. Otherwise, we're going to have to rely on a complete team game like we did today as well. So let's see if we can get that. I'll tell you what, one thing we're not going to see is Andre Drummond be picked up by Steven Adams and walked off. I guarantee you we don't see that. Quistaya says, Vucevic got some rest for tomorrow's game against Memphis. A hard schedule ahead. Yes, we're on the road for the rest of the week. That alone is tough. You start off on the road against Memphis on a back-to-back, the NBA be knowing what they doing, man. Michael Galileo in the building says, delusional bull here. Drum going to be an all-star. All jokes aside, great to see him moving the ball well in the lane. Still terrible job at letting the Spurs get to the paint. Memphis won't be as easy. Absolutely. The Bulls got to be locked in against Memphis. They can't have these defensive lapses that we saw in simple pick-and-roll game like we saw tonight against the Spurs, because the Grizzlies are going to make you pay. So we got to see what happens with that. Yoselin in the building says, the Bulls won on my birthday. Wish I could have gone to the game, but with how up and down this team, couldn't risk being disappointed in person. I feel you, and I think there are a lot of Bulls fans that probably agree with you on that as well, but I'm glad they got the win. We got a lot of birthdays coming up. We got your birthdays today, Shay's birthday's tomorrow. Somebody else also said their birthday's tomorrow. So happy birthday to the CBC family celebrating their birthdays. My mom's birthday was yesterday, so also happy birthday to my mother. Got to say it on the air. You know, it is what it is. Marvin, the motivator, says, that's the kind of game I'm talking about, guys. This can be a season-changing game, guys. A win against a team we should beat. The fact that we're looking at a team that we should be as a season-changing game, though, is a little bit concerning. Let's say the Memphis game, right? If this Bulls team shows up, and not to say that we're expecting the same point input or anybody from Drummond or something, but if the Bulls can play this way, tomorrow against Memphis, that what I would be saying is a season-changing game, because the Bulls haven't fared well against the West as a whole, and definitely not the top teams in the West. So if we can play against the Memphis Grizzlies like this and get a dub against the Grizzlies and hit 500 at the same time, that right there is a season-changing win, in my opinion. But, not to take away from you. The Black Prophet said, I still don't understand why Drummond is not a starting center in this league. Oh, because the league has passed up centers like him. That's just it. There's not very many centers like him that still start. centers that aren't mobile, centers that not even the stretching the floor aspect of it. But the thing is that there are some teams where like Drummond would definitely start on like the Milwaukee Bucks. Yeah, but it is what it is. I'm glad that we have him. If he was a starter, we wouldn't have him. So I'm glad that we got him. Emmanuel says, Haize, what are your thoughts on the potential of Andre Drummond and Jared Vanderbilt duo off the bench if we trade for him? I feel like it would solidify our bench front court. Oh, I said this before. Like either Jay Crowder or Jared Vanderbilt next to Drummond, that is a nasty bench combination and a front court combination off the bench that is going to make people pay in the pick and roll and pay for penetrating on this team. I guarantee. Now, I don't know how realistic the Jared Vanderbilt trade is. When you hear some of the trade talk surrounding him now, it seems like maybe the Bulls are going to be priced out when it comes to Jared Vanderbilt. But you never know. Well, weirder things have happened and can happen, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be the way that it goes. But hopefully I'm wrong. If the Bulls do add Jared Vanderbilt, shout out to him. The Ultimate Rage says the team is better than their damn record for real. For sure. We have way more better talent than what our record says that we do. But they haven't played up to that, right? It's easy to say that, hey, we're a better team than our record. But at the end of the day, when the season ends, nobody's going to look at the Bulls' record if it's bad and say, oh, yeah, the Bulls only got, they were 5 games below 500, but they were a much better team than that. No, it doesn't matter, right? You got to prove it by the way that you play the game. So we'll see if the Bulls team can continue this level of play. Ben Paul with the super chat. Thank you for supporting the channel, my brother. Says 2.5 games out of the 6th seed. I don't give a fuck. Shaking my damn head or shaking my head. We're coming. Hey, man, anything's possible. Anything's possible, bro. Especially when everything's as tight as what it is, man. That's what he said. But it is what it is. Jay Capone, the Don, the king of the South Side, says my 28th birthday today. Happy birthday to Jay Capone as well, bro. Happy birthday to you, fam. Bro, John Morant lame, bro. Think he Suge Knight or something. Listen, I told you guys before, as much as I love John Morant, I don't have blind fandom for any player. I don't have blind fandom for any player on my team, much less a team that I just enjoy watching. John Morant, the moment I heard him call himself Black Jesus, I was like, all right, man, listen, you doing too much, bro. Like you can't actually refer to yourself as Black Jesus. Like you can't do that. Vern in the building says, yo, what up, Haize? We get the dub, but after listening to the Hoop Collector podcast today, I do expect the Bulls to be active at the deadline, according to him. Listen, I told you before, Vern, you always be coming here quoting what other people said on the podcast, bro. Don't always believe that, man. I mean, like I said before, I think a minor deal probably is down the road, but I wouldn't necessarily even bet on that. In my opinion, with Mike Jones says, what up, Haize? I know you mentioned before that you hope if DeMar signs another contract with the Bulls that he agrees to come off the bench. I think he could maybe win 6-man award. For sure. DeMar DeRozan coming off the bench could absolutely be 6-man of the year. And he could be a 6-man of the year of the conversation every year he plays and he comes off the bench, which if you look at DeMar DeRozan and how he's really adding to a potential Hall of Fame resume as he gets ready to retire at some point, winning a couple 6-man of the year awards can't help but, to solidify that a little bit. I'm just saying. Bathlord Payne says, facts on Ja. I'm a regular ass dude and even I can't rock with some of the folks I came up with. When you put yourself on a ticket to feed yourself and your fam, don't thug it all away. I agree with you. And hopefully he sees that with maturity. I'm sure that he will. Most players do. But yeah, you got to get it together, man. You got to get it together. And I would hate to see his career be deterred by extra shit when it didn't have to be. DJJ plus 32, Drummond plus 30, Dragic plus 18, Kobe plus 20. They're just starting to come together. Let's keep it up. Marvin the Motivator with the facts there. Reginald Short in the building says, to be honest, I wasn't sure we'd win even when we had an 18-point lead. Well, there was a point in the fourth quarter. I think when the Bulls went on a 25-5 run and all the momentum was with the Bulls, the UC was rocking. That was when I was confident. I think that was with still like 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I was like, nah, the Bulls win in this game. I really got confident. Now, that definitely could have came back to bite me in my ass. Don't get me wrong. But at that point, that's when I was confident in the Chicago Bulls' ability to close out this game. Melvin says, to be honest, bro, I wouldn't be surprised if the Bulls get rid of Drummond, considering they've been getting rid of fan favorites since Kyle Korver and Nate Robinson days, Bobby Porter, etc. Completely different front offices, though, with that. Completely different. And different scenarios. The Kyle Korver thing, they only traded Kyle Korver, keep in mind, because Derrick Rose wasn't healthy, and the Bulls had paid the luxury tax for the first time in franchise history, and they needed to cut roster. Nate Robinson wasn't traded away. Nate Robinson chose to sign with Denver and then tore his ACL that offseason. Bobby Portis got offered an extension. He turned the extension down. The front office then was like, hey, we don't want to risk possibly losing him in free agency. He was poison pill deal eligible, which would have completely tanked the Bulls salary cap. They decided to trade him. So let's make sure we put that framework around those things. The only player in the players that you listed that was just an outright trade that didn't necessarily need to be traded was Kyle Korver. But again, Nate Robinson chose to sign elsewhere, and then Bobby Portis turned down an extension, and he didn't get that same level of money that the Bulls offered him for 4 years after he had to sit around with minimum deals for 4 years after. Matter of fact, the Bulls contract would have been over with at that point. He should have took the extension. So Memphis been talking and mad trash this year. I want to beat them. Go be a tough one. Going to be a tough one. Oh, it's definitely going to be a tough game. Definitely going to be a tough game. Didn't Ja Morant grow up with a whole ass basketball court in his backyard talking about he grew up in the trenches? Haize, I wanted to ask you, man, do you think the Bulls are preserving Drummond for later in the season and the chance that we actually make the playoffs play in? No, because I think when you're struggling and you're sub 500, if you're reserving or trying to preserve a player for a possible playoff run, that's stupid. I hope that's not what they're doing, because that would be dumb. That would just be dumb of them. Brandon L. Jet says, I watched a few of you being disrespectful to the Kanye boys after last game. I got your screen names. I'll leave it right there. Wait, who was being disrespectful? Y'all were being disrespectful to the Kanye boys? Don't be disrespectful to guests in the house that was holding it down. Drew says, do you see the Cavs have removed Kevin Love from the rotation? He could be a possible buyout option. Oh, if Kevin Love's bought out, I would love if the Bulls don't make other moves and they're just sitting there looking at buyout candidates. If Kevin Love was a buyout candidate, I would cut Tony Bradley and add Kevin Love. Not only is he better back into the bench player, he's a player that can stretch the floor, another solid rebounder, doesn't give you much defense, but some of the things that he does bring could very well be useful for the Chicago Bulls. So damn, Bobby took an L. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he definitely, right? And don't get me wrong, the Bulls took an L in that in a way as well, because imagine had Bobby stuck around and been in this culture, right? Again, what would have changed? What wouldn't have changed? Like, who we drafted, who wouldn't we have drafted? All that does change some things, but like having if Bobby Portis would have been the most tenured Bull at this point, man, it would have been great to see. Like, and he'd be the perfect bench player for us as well. Perfect bench player for us. Justin Lawson says, bro, I love that you know your shit. I tell people, and this isn't even like a brag, like I am a lifelong Bulls fan. All 36 years of my planet have been being a Bulls fan. So like the way that I can recall Bulls facts is like, I'm not going to say it's second to none, because there are tons of Bulls fans that have been fans of this team that long, but like that's why I love this team, man. That's what I hope makes Chicago Bulls Central different, is that I legitimately love this team. I live and breathe the Chicago Bulls. I remember so much about the history of this team and the time that I've been watching them. But yeah. People were saying the season was over. I always told people that who like to make those knee-jerk reactions, man. Y'all got to chill on that. Y'all got to chill. Rap God Reloaded says the Kanye boys got good content. Yeah, bro. Like they got to fix, like, they're waiting on this mic specifically to come out. I think once the Cognac boys get that new mic, it's going to really help the production quality. But the Cognac boys, I've said this for a year and a half now. They are too damn good for people not to know, to not be household names. Like the Cognac boys are good, man. It disappoints me to know that some people were hating on the Cognac boys for holding it down for me in the last game, because those are my guys, man, and they have great content. Juan Miller says, hey, Haize, I didn't get to watch the game. I feel sorry to hear you lost there. But to hear Drummond have a huge game just frustrates me because he is not used properly, nor is Vooch used properly. Hey, listen, and that's crazy because when you look at them, like this is the same coach who in college had a young Joakim Noah and Al Horford, who had a young Steven Adams. Like, why don't you know how to use your big man correctly? That's crazy. I like the chemistry Ayo and Vooch has gained these past 2 seasons. Oh, yeah. You can see, and P will too. Like, Ricky Fontaine texted me something. It's something I have to research. He's like, has Vooch ever missed a shot that coming off a P will pass? And it's like, hey, that's interesting take. But yeah, Ayo definitely knows where Vooch likes to get his passes at now. Haize, I don't know if you saw the discussion has on Discord server, but do you think it's a dumb take to say DeMar is hindering the progress development P. Will could be making? No, I don't think it's a dumb take. I don't think it's a dumb take at all. And I think just by the nature of, and again, that's not to say DeMar's a bad player or anything, but if you don't have a DeMar DeRozan on this team, it forces the other players in the starting lineup to take more shots. And by that, P. Will would be developing at a different rate if you had to rely on him for your offense. We're seeing his offense start to come along now, but it's a completely different. That's why when you see like most 4th overall picks that go to bad teams, they do accelerate faster than what P. Will has because they are forced to be a focal point in many ways on the teams that they go to. So, no, I don't think it's a dumb take. I think some people try to paint it as like, well, DeMar sucks. And it's like, no, DeMar doesn't suck. DeMar's playing this game. But just by the nature of players getting more shots, it does change some things for players. Now, Bobby doesn't feel like he took an L because he won a chip. True. And championships overall. So, yeah, I mean, definitely with that. And he still eventually got his money. So, yeah. Justin Lawson says, I'm 32 from Chicago. I feel you, brother. Like that's why when people are like, oh, this is the worst Bull season ever. I'm like, hey, man, listen, I've been through some shit with this team. Y'all made me have to root that freaking, what's boy's name? Why am I blanking on his name? Eddie Curry was going to turn into something. I was literally, but y'all, we got baby Shaq. We got the next Shaq. Knowing damn well that dude's footwork couldn't support that claim. But you know, it is what it is, man. Sean in the building says, this is why you're my most favorite Bulls-related content creator. Haize, great analysis and quite the Bulls historian. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. I literally, like I said, I love this team, fam. Love it. That P-Dub and AD pick and roll. Yeah, listen, P. Will needs to be used in pick and rolls more often because he can shoot. He can pass. If depending on the player that's on him, he can take other power forwards off the dribble. Like, we need to see him put in that situation a little bit more. Shot Bulls podcast, the Kanye Boys, and it says Drip 100. What's going on? That's my fam in the building right there. That is my fam. We don't play about fam. Yo, Haize, if given the opportunity to get Dorian Finney-Smith or Josh Richardson via trade, which one would you rather have? Ooh, that's a great question. I'm going to say Dorian Finney-Smith because I think he can play more positions on this team. I think it's a more seamless fit in. To the Josh Richardson, I've never been big on Josh Richardson's game. Outside his maybe second year, I was really high, like, because his plus minuses at one point were just like, hey, man, this dude's about to be a star. And then it literally fell off big time. The Jerian Grant era, bro, that's something I definitely want to forget. Baby Shaq, that motherfucker wasn't even big baby Davis. That's crazy, bro. But accurate as hell. Jimmy Sabrinsky in the building. Hi, bro. How you doing? I hope the Bulls could keep the winning streak going. You and me both, fam. I've said it before. This Bulls team needs to go on like one of those 6, 7, 8 game winning streaks. Now, again, we got Memphis. We're going to Memphis. Don't know how viable that is that's going to happen. But if the Bulls were If the Bulls went on like an 8-game winning streak, it drastically changes. Like it completely changes where their ceiling is for the rest of the season. So why is my hat won't stay straight today? Like, what's going on? Oh, that's because I hate snapbacks for that reason. Alana says, are you doing Locked On tonight? So, okay, we've been getting questions. So keep in mind, Locked On doesn't go live after every game on weekends. So Sunday through Thursday, probably Fridays as well. If there's a game, we will go live after games. When there's weekend games like Saturday, Sunday games, we probably aren't going to go live, but we will be live tonight. Green Bean 2 says, born in Chicago, raised in Connecticut, grown to a man in Kentucky. Just letting you know you have a supporter in Kentucky. Go Bulls. Which I appreciate that, Green Bean. We lived a little bit in Fort Campbell growing up, so I won't act like I'm familiar with the area because I was so young when we did. I really don't remember much of it, so. Jeremiah Yoder says, talk about Chicago Bulls history. Haize, when I was your age, the Bulls were right in the middle of their repeat magical seasons. What an unforgettable, amazing time. That's one thing that I hope that I get to experience in my lifetime is the Bulls not only being a championship team, but being in the middle of like a repeat, a three-peat, like just something that is like, hey, this is history, right? Like we're not only a team, but we're building a dynasty. Like that's what I hope to be able to see in my Bulls lifetime. I don't know if it's going to happen, just being realistic, but I would absolutely love to see it. Haize, what's the over-under for the Bulls fumbling and inbound tomorrow? Oh, man. Especially if the game's close, it's high probability, brother. High probability. Oh, my goodness. Billy said he likes how Drummond is playing, but he wants to keep exploring DJJ at the 5. That doesn't surprise me. When you look at it like that's Billy Donovan's methodology, and especially when you hear the rumors that the Bulls could be looking to move Andre Drummond by the trade deadline, doesn't surprise me that he says that. Sucks, right? But doesn't surprise me. Dark Wolf says, some love from Portugal, Haize. Well, thank you for coming and joining us from Portugal, bro. I appreciate that. Was at the game with my boy. It was a great game and glad the Bulls pulled away eventually in the fourth. Andre Drummond was an absolute problem offensively and defensively. And that is the thing that's special about Andre Drummond. When he gets to playing with confidence, when he gets to playing with momentum and those things, he's just a different player on both sides of the ball. And he kept the fouls down in this game. Drummond played a damn good game today. Damn good game from Drummond today. Folk took 9 shots. He's definitely getting traded. That's funny. Dragic and Javante for Bones. Who says no? That's honestly not a bad trade. I'm not even going to front on you. I wanted to try to break that apart. It's honestly not a bad trade. I would hope the Bulls can get at least a second back in that as well. But that's honestly, that's of all the fan promoted trades, that's not a bad one. That's definitely not a bad one. Tyrese Thomas, Eddie Curry, and Jay Williams were the biggest busts in Bulls history. Well, Jay Williams, I don't label it a bust only because it was due to unforeseen circumstances. Now, I can completely understand people saying it was a bust, especially because he shouldn't have been on that goddamn thing anyway. Eddie Curry definitely bust. Tyrese Thomas, especially when you look at the fact that we could have had LaMarcus Aldridge. But again, had we taken LaMarcus instead of Tyrese there, do we get Derrick Rose? That's the biggest question. Is LaMarcus Aldridge good enough? Keep in mind, he would have been our front court with Ben Wallace. That's a hell of a front court. I don't know if the Bulls are bad enough. Keep in mind, so that season the season we drafted Tyrese Thomas, we swept the Miami Heat. It was the following season we had the down season, and then we got D Rose. But my question to that is, I think if we have LaMarcus Aldridge in place of that, the Bulls are too good. That's just my opinion. I think the Bulls are too good. Alex Caruso for Herb Jones. Now I'll keep AC. Keep AC. Marcus Pfizer is definitely a bust. 125% a bust. Bathlord Payne says, man, LaMarcus Aldridge could have given us a decade plus of ball. Sure, people love D Rose, but LA would have been special. See, that's the thing. LA would have been cool. Don't get me wrong. But I think most Chicago Bulls fans will tell you that they would rather have D Rose because of the MVP, because of the storyline being from Chicago, because of everything surrounding that. But yeah. Marcus Teague, that's always tough. What was the 30th pick though? But yeah, man, Marcus, that dude forgot how to play basketball, and he looked good in college. It wasn't like Marcus Teague was one of those players in college where it's like, oh, he's okay. Let's take a risk on the upside. Teague looked good in college, and then he got into the NBA and it was just like, hey man, what is this? What is this? All right, I'm not reading no more trade scenarios. Y'all getting a little special there. Y'all getting a little inside the Chicago Bulls.
Y'all getting a little, what up, guys? We heard from a Bulls insider that the Chicago Bulls are considering trading Alex Caruso for Herb Jones. And guys, this is real special, guys. An insider said this, guys. The Bulls also in this trade, they would immediately start Herb Jones, and Herb Jones will become the next Michael Jordan.
Hey, come on, fam. We got to stop with that. Y'all doing that inside the Chicago Bulls stuff, fam. What y'all doing, bro? Black Prophet says you keep AC because he's one of your best defensive players. Also, you don't know when Lonzo's going to return. Completely agree with you there. Completely agree with you. Oh, bro, that's funny. Paul Zipser, who we're high on, and who also was probably high on the team. Yeah. What's going on here? Why are we forgetting about the next Steph Curry, Denzel Valentine? Because listen, we try to forget Gums McGee as much as possible. Like you don't just want to mention him. He's like Candyman. Like you mention his name too many times, he's gonna pop up on your ass. Like, and I can't take that. My heart can't take seeing Gums. Like, if you're in a dark room and all you see is Gums running towards you, you'll be terrified. You'll be terrified. I hear that ICB voice and see a ridiculous thumbnail with a hailing urgent trade update, AC to be traded. Hate them bullshit clickbait channels, bro. That shit drives me crazy, bro. That shit drives me crazy. Except none of the good places are open now. It's too late. What's happening? What did I miss? Y'all talking about food again? Guys, should I get pizza tonight? Yeah, every day. Get pizza. What you talking about? Gums motherfucking McGee, bro. Like that's deep, man. That's wild. Did not realize. Oh, Herb Jones isn't a bad player at all. Let's be clear. Herb Jones is not a bad player. This is not a player that you give up AC for. That's a player you try to add to what you have on the bench. You don't give up AC for that. In my opinion, at least, for whatever that's worth. Alana definitely high. Absolutely. Like, you already know. She got a couple of them beans, some gummies, and she just sitting there. Next thing you know, she's gonna be like, how do we actually know water is indeed wet? How do we know that how do you test for that? How do you test for water being wet? How do you test for that? That's Alana right now. She's gonna be like, you know what? I wanted some refried beans, but I couldn't remember who fried them the first time. Who fried the beans the first time? Do you guys know who fried the beans the first time? You don't know? Oh, I'm not eating that shit. That's Alana right now. You know she's tripping. The Ultimate Rage says, I honestly need an edible hookup. That's funny. I'm ready for future Bulls legend Willie Hernan Gomez. Yeah, man. I'm good on that. That's just such a weird trade rumor. And then even if you are, right, whoever came out with that and wanted to go ahead and publish that, I understand it. But like, even if you're a reporter and you get that and you're like, hey, guess what we heard? The Chicago Bulls are interested in Willie Hernan Gomez. Why do you run that as the headline of your article? Did that get you clicks? Did that work for you? Did it get you clicks? Who the fuck fries beans? Oh man. Oh, she definitely with the vacuum cleaner vacuuming the grass outside. That's definitely Alana. Jamal in the building says, yo, Haize, keep up the good work. I'd want to see 5 of the best microwave scorers play against 5 of the best defenders like AC Herb, Smart, P. Will, and Portal. Man, that'd be interesting. That'd be a boring ass game, bro. Like that's you remember how boring the finals were between the Spurs and the Detroit Pistons? That's gonna be that all over again. That was a boring ass finals. Good basketball, but yeah. Andres Nocioni would absolutely feast in this league for sure. Justin Lawson, do you fuck with Bull? Absolutely. Jamal's my guy. He's been on the show before. Yeah, me and Jamal did an episode. Probably do another episode this summer. It's just difficult to get schedules to line up during the season. But yeah, Jamal to me is one of the GOATs of Bulls content creators, period. No, I remember Michael Sweetney, odd-shaped ass dude. Wasn't he like 6'7" and like 300 pounds? Michael Sweetney was like, that dude was trash too. Trash too. Devontae says, if dumb Billy Donovan played Drummond and Dragic more, we would have a winning record. I disagree with that to a degree. I do think that we would have won some games, especially some of those games where we just got outworked because of size and energy. I definitely think Drummond helps that. But Goran Dragic, I think what keeps Goran Dragic special is the fact that we keep his minutes low. I think if Goran was playing heavy minutes on this team, it would not nearly be the same. Kurt Thomas was especially nice for us when he came and he was starting with Ben Wallace, because there was a game in the playoffs against the Detroit Pistons where Kurt Thomas scored 20 points in a quarter. I remember that. And I remember people like, oh, he's going to be mentoring Tyrese Thomas. He's going to take him under his wing. That shit ain't pay off at all. But Kurt Thomas was good for us. Of the 3 replacement point guards, DJ, Nate, and Aaron, who would fit best on this team? Probably Nate Robinson. Man, listen, I talked about that at the halftime hangout. I got so tired of Bulls fans during that era, man. Especially, somebody correct. I believe it was in December. I was like, listen, I'm not doing no more trade conference. I'm not reading your comments on this live. If it's about a trade, I'm not doing it. Not doing it. I still wonder how the Clippers felt getting 11 threes dropped on their heads by the dysfunctional light-skinned Zachary Thomas Levine. Bro, like I know people think that they cooking when they do this weird shit, but when you focus in on one player and just want to tear them down, that's just weird. It's not funny. It's not witty. It's just strange. It's really just weird. It really is. I don't know what to say about it. It's just strange. Hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah, I love you, bro. No homo, but I love to see Bulls fans work together. Oh man, I've said it before. I've said it on Twitter. Like almost any Bulls podcast that I get invited on, I'm gonna go on just because I love talking about this team. Now, I remember people saying, no, you know what? Worse than the people that were saying we should trade for Gobert, it was the people who were like, what are you talking about? The Bulls absolutely have the best package they can offer, the best package that can be offered for Rudy Gobert. And I'm like, in what world do you think the Bulls have the absolute best package that can be offered? And then, like Pat, I love Pat the designer. You guys know that's my little brother. But like even Pat was like, oh, we can get Rudy. We can do it for this. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? And then when the trade went down, he was like, yeah, I guess we couldn't. I guess we were priced out. Yeah, because that was bad. That was just like, that writing was on the wall with that. Oh, the let's get Boogie Cousins people. That is wild. I love the support. Chicago has been great to me. The fan base has been awesome. Very supportive of me being here. Bulls Drummond. Do you think those are words from a person that knows he's being traded? Oh man. It could be. I mean, it could be when you, especially when you factor in the fact that him getting those expensive ass cookies for everybody. It's like, why? That's just a weird thing to do in the middle of a season. But I mean, I would not be surprised at all. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we trade Drummond. It sucks, but I wouldn't be surprised at all. All right, we hit our 45-minute mark. I got to get ready to go do Locked on Bulls, y'all. I love you guys, man. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button. We're actually only 4 subscribers away from being at 10,300, which is wild because we just passed 10K like less than a month ago, I think. So you guys have really been showing out. I appreciate you guys and all the support that you've been giving this channel. Make sure you guys support. Also, I know this, we mainly watch on YouTube, but if you guys can do me a favor, go over to Apple Podcasts, pull up Chicago Bulls Central, leave a rating there. You can just leave a rating based off how you feel about the YouTube videos. Make sure you guys do that as well. Gonna cut this short tonight just because we have a back-to-back and I got to do Locked on Bulls after this, and I got to do the same thing tomorrow night as well. So I'm trying to conserve my voice as best as possible. Thank you so much for giving me all the love and support and just being the best Bulls community on all of YouTube. If you want to follow the show, make sure you do so at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullscentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text and or voicemail, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bulls related because of you guys. Like I like to end everything on. Go Bulls. Love you guys. See red, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.